Charles Leonard asked me to turn his brother gay. $1 million if I succeeded. His brother, cool and aloof on the outside, but surprisingly easy to crack. I didn't even do anything. He turned gay all on his own. Later, I accidentally overheard their conversation. Still haven't won over your future wife? I've been acting my part pretty well, right? Not bad. Then, about that thing you promised me. Once she marries in, it's all yours. The next second, a message from Charles Leonard popped up. Another $1 million if you marry my brother. Also, he's into maid play. Welcome to History Channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. My insanely rich roommate is Charles Leonard. Rumor has it his family owns literal mines. He's generous to a fault. For my birthday, he gave me a designer watch worth 5 digits, more than my annual expenses. I can't accept something this expensive, I said, embarrassed. After all, for his birthday, I'd only given him something that didn't even crack 100. Charles clicked his tongue. Quit whining. I gave it, so take it. Fine. I took the watch and sold it. Converted it into a string of zeros in my bank account. I didn't tell him. If he found out, I'd be so screwed. But I desperately needed that money. My mom was sick, surgery-level sick, and our family was drowning in debt. I worked 2 part-time jobs just to scrape by. Still, he found out. He walked over to my bed, looming above me. Are you really that broke? I stared down, ashamed, unable to meet his eyes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'll save up and buy it back. I swear. He frowned. A few bucks? Forget it. You think I'm that stingy? He paused mid-sentence, his eyes suddenly lighting up as he scanned me head to toe. I had just gotten out of the shower, hair still dripping, pajamas clinging to my skin. Beads of water trickled down my neck, disappearing under the collar. Charles blurted, "Why is your skin so pale? What kind of skincare do you use?" I blinked. I don't use anything. I'd always been this way, naturally pale, no matter how much sun. Whiter than most guys, but not ghostly or anything. Realizing he'd gone off topic, Charles quickly switched gears. I've got a job for you. Easy work, good pay. You want it? What kind of job? He pulled out his phone and showed me a picture. Seduce my brother. $1 million if you turn him gay. But, I mean, I'm a guy too. I looked at him, confused. So he won't compete for the inheritance. My parents would never give the company to a gay son. Get it? I didn't. I was just a broke nobody. I didn't understand rich people logic. But I understood $1 million. Enough to cover my mom's surgery and clear our debts. Charles dressed head to toe in designer labels. He showed up to class in luxury cars. I didn't even know the names of the brands, but the way people gasped when they saw him said enough. He was always decent to me. No rich boy attitude. Probably not a scam. I nodded. All right, I'll do it. But how the hell do I seduce a guy? I've never even been in a relationship. Charles brought me to a luxury club. My first time in a place like this, I kept my head down, too nervous to look around. We started in a private suite. Then he called in a group of people. Watch them. Copy what they do, he said. So I got ready to take notes. Then the guys walked in, wearing the bare minimum, tiny strips of fabric just barely covering the essentials. They had lean, pale waists, slender legs that brushed together suggestively. My nose almost started bleeding. Some of them were big and muscular, deep brown skin and bulging biceps. Charles grabbed my hand and made me feel the muscle. I whispered, trembling, "Do I have to dress like that too?" He crossed one leg over the other, perfectly casual. "You want the money or not?" "I do." "Then do what I say." A few days later, he handed me an outfit and shoved me into another private room. He said I'd be playing the role of an innocent college boy. But I am a college boy. Inside the suite, Charles dragged me to sit beside a man. "Everyone, this is Desmond, my classmate." People around the table greeted me warmly. "Nice to meet you, Desmond." "Hi," I mumbled, overwhelmed. The only one who didn't react was Ralph Leonard, his brother. Noticing my nerves, Charles patted my shoulder. "Relax. They're all my buddies. No one's gonna bite. Okay. Ralph sat beside me. His aura was intense. I tugged at the seam of my pants to ground myself, sneaking glances at him. He had slicked back hair, sharp brows, and cool, distant eyes. A tailored suit clung perfectly to his lean frame. His fingers, long, elegant, gripped a wine glass filled with deep red liquid. God, his hands. How could a man have hands that sexy? I stared. And stared. Desmond. Something wrong. Crap. I'd been caught. Ralph turned slightly toward me, his gaze laced with curiosity. No. I jerked my eyes away, wishing I could disappear into the couch. My cheeks flushed with heat. Ralph was absurdly attractive. Deep voice, perfect build, too much of everything. How was I ever going to seduce someone like that? Someone way out of my league. I was starting to worry. Charles Leonard got up to take a call. That left the seat to my left empty, while Ralph Leonard remained steady and unbothered on my right. Suddenly, a buzz-cut guy slid into the empty seat and pressed right up against me. His hand landed casually on my thigh. Desmond, right? Let's drink. He shoved a rainbow-colored cocktail toward me. I opened my mouth but didn't know how to refuse. Charles had warned me before we came, don't drink anything a stranger hands you. This place was chaotic. Some people love to slip things into drinks. But this guy looked like the type who'd punch me if I declined. Just as I hesitated, Ralph Leonard calmly reached over and blocked the glass. With a soft chuckle, he said, "He's still a student. What's he drinking for?" The room suddenly went quiet. The buzz-cut guy looked annoyed. A jagged scar on his cheek made him extra menacing. He didn't say anything, did he? What are you butting in for? His eyes narrowed at me. Well, Desmond? You got something to say? Ralph's face darkened. He pulled me close to his side. Arthur, keep that stuff to yourself. He's my brother's classmate. I'm responsible for him. Only when we were this close did I notice Ralph's faint, cool cologne. Charles came rushing over to defuse the tension. It's his first time here. Don't push him to drink. If he gets wasted, I'll have to drag him back to the dorm. Such a hassle. Once the guy left, I murmured a thank you to Ralph. He looked oddly pleased. By the end of the night, I still ended up drinking more than I should have. Drunk and sprawled across the sofa, my mind turned to mush. When I opened my eyes again, it was already noon the next day. I didn't usually drink, and I'd underestimated how hard it would hit. My head throbbed. The room around me was unfamiliar. Then came a knock on the half-open door, and Ralph stepped in. You're awake? I blinked groggily. Yeah. And then it hit me. Ralph? What are you doing here? Ralph smiled faintly. This is my house. That made sense. I must have gotten too drunk last night, and Charles brought me here when the dorms were locked. I rubbed my forehead and asked, Where's Charles? Ralph pulled open the curtains, then retrieved a neatly folded outfit from the closet. He went back to campus this morning. Said to make sure I looked after you. Emphasized repeatedly that you two are really close. He paused, then added, You threw up on your clothes, so I had them washed. Still damp. Wear this instead. It's mine, but it's new. I glanced down. Sure enough, my clothes had been swapped. I was wearing pale blue pajamas with a soft, luxurious texture. On the pocket was an embroidered white lamb. Thanks, Ralph. Sorry for the trouble last night. As I took the clothes from him, my mind finally cleared. Wait a second. Who changed my clothes? Charles was a clean freak. No way it was him. And he drank too. I didn't dare ask Ralph. Too humiliating. After I showered and changed, I walked into the living room. Ralph was cooking in the kitchen. He spotted me right away. Wash your hands, breakfast's ready. Okay. In casual loungewear, he seemed much less intimidating. Still ridiculously handsome. There was a grounded charm about him, mature, calm, magnetic. And with only the two of us, the atmosphere felt unexpectedly relaxed. We chatted over breakfast. He was surprisingly easy to talk to. That's when I remembered the mission. Seduce Ralph Leonard. Turn him gay. What? $1 million. I looked at the dishes and asked excitedly, Ralph, Did you cook all this yourself? He gave me a puzzled look but nodded. Wow, you're amazing. Not only are you good-looking, your cooking is incredible. The compliment was genuine. The food looked and smelled fantastic. Your girlfriend must be so lucky. Ralph laughed. Don't flatter me. I don't have a girlfriend. I gasped, dramatically. A guy like you is still single? That's hard to believe. He looked like he was stifling a laugh. After that, silence settled in. I didn't know what to say next. This was all stuff Charles had coached me on. I'd even researched tips on forums. If Ralph was smiling, I guess it wasn't too off. Back at school, Charles cornered me. So, did anything happen between you and my brother? I told him everything that went down. He stared at me like I was hopeless. You had the perfect chance and still blew it? Desmond, what am I going to do with you? A heavy wave of frustration hit me. Maybe I'm not cut out for this after all. Goodbye, 1 million. But Charles grabbed my arm. Hey, I'm kidding. Don't quit yet. At least you made a move, right? A little advance payment, so you won't say I'm scamming you. A second later, I got a transfer notification. 100,000. What the, why so much? My eyes went fuzzy from the zeros on my screen. Charles grinned. Stick with me and you'll never go broke. That 100 grand could cover my mom's hospital admission and the first round of surgery. It would keep me from barely scraping by every day. Thank you, Charles, I said sincerely. With money in hand, I was suddenly very motivated. I asked Charles for Ralph's WeChat. Once I had it, I started messaging him every day, following the advice I'd read online. Ralph, what are you up to today? Ralph, check out my new haircut. What do you think? Cute, right? Ralph, guess what happened today? After a full week of this, Ralph always replied politely. But he never once initiated a conversation. I'd never chased anyone before. Was this normal? When I reported back to Charles, he scrolled through the chat logs and cursed under his breath. Desmond, you absolute blockhead. Forget it. Stop trying to play the long game. Just follow my plan. Ralph is going to a private hot spring resort in the mountains this weekend. I'll sneak you in. You just do what I tell you, got it? I nodded obediently. Got it. Both ears heard it loud and clear. When the weekend came, Charles Leonard drove me to the resort. After stashing me inside Ralph Leonard's room, he took off. I curled up in the closet. It was nearly dark when Ralph finally came back and opened the door. I leapt out and threw my arms around him. Ralph, I like you. He didn't move, didn't react. I had hugged him from behind. Images from the club that night flashed through my mind. I mimicked what I saw, letting my hands wander. Suddenly, my wrist was seized. The next thing I knew, Ralph had tossed me onto the bed. He loomed over me, eyes cool and unreadable. Desmond, who brought you here? I bit my lip nervously. I couldn't sell out Charles. I came by myself. His gaze darkened, tinged with irritation. Well, you're pretty bold. He took off his gold-rimmed glasses, then started unbuttoning his shirt. I shrank back. Ralph, what are you doing? He stared down at me, expression flat. Isn't this what you came for? Beneath the suit was a sculpted, lean body, firm, defined, and striking. I couldn't help staring. Even the male models at the club didn't compare. I was only wearing a thin robe. With a single tug, Ralph loosened the belt. Underneath, the worn, faded briefs with pilled fabric were on full display. Ralph scoffed, amused. Where'd this little broke boy come from? Trying to play seduction? You even know what you're doing? You even know how two guys are supposed to do this? I shook my head violently, cheeks burning. And no, I don't. I really don't. All I had were vague impressions from what I saw at the club. I'd spent my teenage years buried in schoolwork. I was the class nerd. Even the basics of sex ed were just textbook knowledge. No videos. Definitely no same-gender experience. Ralph burst into laughter. I'm just messing with you. Relax. I'm not going to force you into anything. In the end, we didn't do anything. He tied the belt of my robe back up and said, Come on. I'll take you to the hot spring. I followed him nervously. The hot spring was completely private, just the two of us. Same gender, sure, but Ralph's body was on a whole different level. I looked like a boiled chicken beside him. The water was just right. Slowly, my body and mind began to unwind. I looked at Ralph and blurted out, "Ralph, aren't you mad?" He leaned back, eyes half closed. "Mad about what?" "You said you liked me, didn't you? I don't mind trying it out." The words hit me like a wave of joy. Did that mean my mission was halfway complete? Excited, I grabbed his arm. "Really? Ralph, when you say, try it out, do you mean I have a chance?" He smirked. "You're that happy?" I nodded like crazy. Yes, super happy. But Ralph's try it didn't mean just playing pretend. The next day, he brought me to a mall and bought me a whole new wardrobe, including underwear. I stared at the price tag, shell-shocked. $1,000 for one pair? "Ralph, you don't have to. I've still got plenty in the dorm," I mumbled. "You should just buy these for yourself." These kinds of luxurious briefs were for fancy people like him. Ralph's expression darkened. "What's our relationship again?" "Huh." I blinked up at him, confused. He frowned. "You said you liked me. You were naked in my bed. We spent a beautiful night together. So tell me, what's our relationship?" I knew he was teasing, but I couldn't refute it. I hesitated. "Are we dating?" His lips curled into a smile, his eyes crinkling. "And I am?" "Boyfriend," I blurted, then quickly corrected myself. "You're my boyfriend." Ralph took my hand as naturally as breathing, then swiped his black card to pay. "So if I'm your boyfriend, shouldn't I buy you clothes? And that disaster you're wearing, toss it when we get back." "Okay." I couldn't stop staring at his hand. From the very beginning, I'd been obsessed with how beautiful his hands were. Now he was holding mine. Fingers interlocked. The sales assistant gave us a strange look. I fidgeted, uneasy. After all, we were both guys, holding hands in broad daylight. I tried to discreetly pull my hand back. But Ralph only gripped it tighter, firmly, possessively. "Let's go, boyfriend." Just as we walked out of the store, the sales assistant pulled out her phone. In her company's gossip group chat, her fingers flew across the screen. Guys. I swear I just saw the CEO with his boyfriend. He's so hot. And his boyfriend is adorable, like a shy little cutie." "What? The CEO has a boyfriend?" "So he wasn't cold to women, he just likes men. And get this, rumor is he's the one doing the chasing." Every day after class, Ralph Leonard would come pick me up for dinner or a date. He took me to places I'd never even dreamed of stepping foot in before. I was like a country bumpkin on his first trip to the city, blundering through everything, making a fool of myself. But Ralph never once looked down on me. He always handled it with elegance, gracefully smoothing things over. Was Ralph Leonard really straight? I hadn't done anything, and he was already curling into a cinnamon roll all by himself. The way he treated me went far beyond what I could have imagined. "Desmond, how's it going with my brother? Any progress?" Charles Leonard checked in with me every single day. I said, "Almost there, I think." We were still only holding hands. Charles frowned. "You mean you haven't even kissed yet, let alone slept together?" I nodded, a bit guilty. His eyes widened. He muttered under his breath, "Man's got some serious self-control. You're right there on a silver platter." I didn't quite catch that. "What?" "Nothing," he brushed it off. Still, the thought lingered. "Charles, but you and Ralph seem to get along really well. Do I really need to keep doing this?" Charles planted his hands on his hips. "Of course. That's just for show, all right? We're surface-level brothers. Behind the scenes, it's a full-on inheritance war. You wouldn't understand, rich people drama." Yeah. I really didn't understand. They looked like actual brothers to me. I asked another thing that had been on my mind. "Are you sure Ralph was straight to begin with? It doesn't feel like I've turned him. More like, he was never all that straight. He always politely turned down women who asked for his number, even told them outright he was gay. He treated me way too well. Spent so much money on me. And I'd only given him some basic breakfasts, a few cheap gifts. Charles patted my shoulder, satisfied. Don't worry about it. As long as the result is bent, that's what counts. Keep going. Get him wrapped around your finger and I'll send more. He kept his word. Money flowed into my account without pause. In just a month, the numbers had stacked up. I didn't feel as happy as I thought I would. Guilt had started to fester. When my mom's surgery date finally arrived, I took a leave from school and went back home. Dad died early. Mom raised my little sister and me all by herself. Now she was sick and my sister was still in middle school. There was no one else at home. As I stepped into the hospital room, I saw her lying there, frail and exhausted, her hair nearly all white. On the bedside table was a plate of bananas covered in black spots, along with a few shriveled apples. A bag of sanitary supplies sat messily in the corner. She looked up, surprised and happy. Desmond, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be studying? I'm fine, really. It's nothing serious. I walked over and tossed the fruit straight into the trash. All discount stuff from the clearance bin, I could tell. Mom, how many times do I have to tell you not to be so frugal? This fruit's already going bad. Don't eat this stuff anymore. I'm earning money now, got a scholarship too. And my boss is really generous. You don't have to worry about the bills. I'd transferred every cent Charles gave me to my mom's bank account. Suddenly, I thought of Ralph Leonard. I'd left in such a hurry, I forgot to let him know. Usually by this time, he'd be waiting outside campus to take me to dinner. I quickly pulled out my phone. Ralph, something came up at home. I had to go back for a few days. Just letting you know so you don't end up going to school for nothing. The next moment his call came in. I waited until Mom was asleep, then stepped into the hallway to answer. Ralph. Desmond, is everything okay? Do you need me to come over? His voice was quiet, probably still at the office. No, it's all right. My mom's just having a minor surgery. I came back to take care of her. All right. If anything happens, promise you'll tell me. I will. How many days of leave did you take? About 5, I think. So I won't see you for 5 days? I'll come back to you as soon as I'm done here, okay? We chatted a little more until someone called for him and he had to hang up. When I turned around, I saw a familiar shadow lurking behind me. It was my little sister, Anna Wood, just back from school. She darted over, grinning. Bro, who are you on the phone with? Is that your girlfriend? Is she pretty? Can you bring her home so I can see her? I grabbed her backpack and headed back into the room. Don't be nosy. You're a kid. What do you know? Anna huffed. Hey, I know plenty. You're totally in love. Your face gives it away. Kids at my school who get caught dating all look exactly like you just did. Anna had always been high energy, like a wind-up toy that never ran out. She bounced around non-stop every day. Don't be like them, okay? You're too young to be dating. Ah, fine. Bro, guess what happened at school today? Around 11, I finally got Anna back to her dorm. I stayed at the hospital for the night shift. Just as I started dozing off, I jolted awake. That's when I saw Ralph Leonard standing at the door. I shot to my feet. Ralph, what are you doing here? He pulled me into a one-armed hug. Didn't want to go 5 days without seeing you, so I caught a flight over. In fact, I brought you something to eat. In his other hand was a box of mini wontons. From my favorite place. I'd only mentioned it once. He remembered. My chest warmed with something soft and glowing. I looked up at him, suddenly overcome with the urge to kiss him. Instead, I said, Ralph, thank you. He got my mom transferred into a VIP private room, hired 2 professional caregivers, and arranged a top specialist to perform the surgery. Seeing all he'd done, guilt started to weigh heavy on my chest. Ralph treated me so well. He left million-dollar projects just to be here with me. I turned him gay for money. But now I was genuinely falling for him. Overflowing. At the same time, a deep sense of inferiority crept in. Ralph Leonard was a man born for the top, a golden son. And I was just a nobody. Worse than a nobody, I was a liar who approached him with a motive. I was even more afraid that I was the one who had turned Ralph Leonard, that I'd led him astray. Desmond, what are you spacing out for? Ralph noticed my daze and looked over. I shook my head. Nothing. Just really grateful you came all this way to be with me. And for everything you've done. Ralph replied easily, isn't this what boyfriends are supposed to do? He always said that, used that line to justify all the countless things he did for me. Ralph, if one day you found out I lied to you, not a terrible lie, but still a lie, what would you do? Would you still treat me the same? Ralph reached out and flicked me on the forehead. Dummy. Sometimes I really want to crack open your skull and see what's rattling around in there. You said it's not a big lie, so of course I wouldn't do anything drastic. Maybe I'd get a little mad, drag you into bed, give you a proper punishment, and then we'd call it even. That wasn't the answer I wanted. After returning to campus, I started avoiding Ralph. Whenever he asked to meet, I turned him down, using finals as an excuse. He was busy with work, but still sent voice messages and called every day. Don't overdo it while you study, okay? I ordered you takeout and milk tea. Go grab them at mealtime. Baby, I miss you. Baby, can we meet even just a little bit today? Insert sad puppy emoji. I responded coldly, sorry, been really busy lately. There was a senior girl I met at an event, beautiful, accomplished, well-spoken. She had once caught me hanging out with Ralph and later asked me about him. And now, somehow, the idea of introducing her to Ralph crossed my mind. Maybe if he met someone better, someone more fitting, he'd realize he liked girls after all. Maybe, if he went back to being straight, I'd feel less guilty. But then there was Charles Leonard. I felt just as guilty toward him. He'd given me so much money. Charles cornered me in our dorm. Desmond Wood, what's up with you lately? You've been totally out of it. I was exhausted, mentally, physically, but I didn't dare say the truth. It's just finals. Studying too much. I'll be fine soon. He dropped a giant bag of snacks, fruit, and supplements onto my desk and added pointedly, just don't forget to go see my brother. He's been alone a lot lately. You've got a mission, remember? You don't have to overkill studying, you already know everything anyway. What are you so scared of? I wanted to ask, Charles, can I just quit this mission? But the money was gone. Mom was cured. The debts were paid. I had no right to ask for anything else. So I nodded. Okay, I'll go. That night, I couldn't sleep. Ralph Leonard's face kept replaying in my mind. So did all the things I'd done to him. Two little versions of me battled it out in my head, truth versus lies. Late at night, I scrolled past a post titled, How to Break Up Gracefully. It suggested taking things slow. That sudden breakups often lead to backlash, because hate can cut deeper than love. So I decided to follow it, to let Ralph slowly lose interest in me. I passed a store window and saw a tie. The color was stunning. Expensive. Worth half a year's part-time wages. But it would suit Ralph perfectly. I hesitated, then bought it. I'd ignored Ralph too much lately. He deserved something from me. Even if this was the best I could give, and the cheapest tie in his closet. Tomorrow was his birthday. He'd probably be working late, and I had exams all day. So I brought a homemade cake and the tie and headed over to his place. I wanted to surprise him. Just as I arrived at his underground parking garage, his car pulled in. I stepped forward, then froze. Charles and Ralph got out of the car together. They didn't see me. I was shielded by a concrete pillar. Then I heard Charles tease. Still haven't won her over yet, huh? I'm acting my heart out over here. Ralph laughed. You're doing great. Charles pressed again. So, about that promise? Ralph said, as soon as she marries in, I'll make it happen. A moment later, my phone buzzed. Another $1 million if you marry my brother. Also, he's into maid play. Desmond, reply if you got this. I also compiled 100 spicy tips about his preferences, ask me anything, hee hee. I just stood there, watching them walk off toward the elevator, chatting and laughing. I understood every word they said. I just didn't know how to understand them. So I was the caged prey from the start. The betrayal stung. Even though I'd technically benefited, even though it helped me save my mom, being deceived still hurt. I stumbled back to my dorm in a daze. only to realize I'd left the cake and tie in the garage. Whatever. It's not like he needs them. I told myself that. Desmond? What's wrong? Did you lose money? My roommate looked up, concerned. I forced a crooked smile. I'm fine. Just tired. Needed to clear my head. After sitting for 2 minutes, I left again. There was a small lake on campus, perfect for watching sunsets. I headed there, hoping the wind might help me breathe again. Meanwhile, Charles got back to the dorm and asked the others if I was around. Didn't he go find you guys? A roommate replied. Said he had cake or something. But he came back looking really out of it and wouldn't say what happened. Charles's mind jumped straight to the cake near the elevator's trash can. He'd seen it earlier and joked, who dumps a cake in the parking garage? Now he knew. He called Ralph immediately. Bro, we're screwed. Desmond knows. He was there. He must have heard everything we said. And the cake. He made that for you. You have to get it. And the gift too. Charles found me sitting by the lake, the wind rustling through my hoodie. From a distance, he started yelling. Desmond, don't do anything stupid, okay? Just stand there. What the hell? Does he think I'm about to jump in? He ran over and grabbed me, dragging me to the nearby path. Once we were away from the edge, he finally let go of my arm. There were 5 red marks on my arm from where Charles Leonard had grabbed me. Panting, he said, Desmond, you heard everything we said just now, didn't you? I'm sorry. This is our fault. I shouldn't have kept it from you. I'll make my brother confess everything to you right now. If you want to hit someone, hit him. He's the one who took advantage of you. I just went along with his dumb idea. Seriously, go ahead, don't hold back. Right then, Ralph Leonard arrived. He'd rushed over so fast, his normally perfect hair was in disarray, messy bangs clinging to his forehead. Charles immediately shoved Ralph forward and ducked behind him. Desmond, go on, just not the face, okay? He's got a birthday party tomorrow. Hit anywhere else. If that's not enough, I'll take a few punches too. The two of them stared at me, nervous. I frowned. Why would I hit him? Ralph's hand trembled. You not angry? I answered calmly, I am. And I don't plan on forgiving you. Charles, just starting to relax, tensed all over again. Then what can we do? Just tell us what it'll take. I swear, no more lying. Ralph, mimicking his brother, raised 3 fingers like a scout's honor. Same here. I almost laughed, but managed to hold it in. I want an explanation. 5 minutes later, I finally got it, and learned about Ralph Leonard's love at first sight. On the first day of the semester, Charles had posted a dorm selfie on Instagram. He kept posting little snippets. Sometimes I was in them. That's when Ralph saw me. And suddenly he was interested. When he came to campus and met me in person, he fell hard. He asked Charles to help him win me over. Then Charles found out I was short on money. He'd caught me selling the watch he gave me. So he came up with a plan, pay me to turn Ralph. So it had all been carefully orchestrated. I turned to Charles and said sincerely, thank you. Because of you, I got the money to treat my mom. I didn't lose my family. And because of you, I met someone I love. Charles waved it off like it was nothing. Seriously, it's not a big deal. Then suddenly his face shifted. Wait a second, Desmond, why are you thanking me? I smiled. Relax. I'm not mad anymore. But you know, if you bought me breakfast for a semester, that'd be even better. Charles exhaled in relief. Deal. I've got you covered. Meanwhile, Ralph stood frozen, holding his breath, waiting for his turn to be judged. In the little document Charles had sent me, his infamous Brothers Kinks file, there was actually one I found pretty interesting. I like maid play too, actually, I told Ralph. What do you think? From the very first time we met, I thought Ralph Leonard looked amazing. Great body, sharp features. Now, if you added the outfit Charles sent, it'd be perfect. That night, Ralph wore it. A full maid costume. With fuzzy ears and a collar with a little bell that jingled when he moved. His ears were so red they looked like they might start bleeding. He croaked out my name. Desmond. I grinned like a rogue. Ralph, you look beautiful. And then, Some very adult things happened. But tell me this. Why was it Ralph who got punished, and I ended up being the one wrecked? Suddenly, I understood what Ralph had said before. There are way too many ways for men to have fun with men. We had our whole lives to explore. Later, Ralph carefully retrieved the cake I left in the parking lot. He placed it in the fridge like it was something sacred. At midnight, fireworks lit up the sky outside his window. I brought the cake over and stood beside him. Ralph Leonard, happy birthday. Make a wish. He closed his eyes and made a silent wish. I hope Desmond is safe and happy for the rest of his life. And I hope he'll love me forever. I stared at his perfect profile and couldn't resist. I kissed him. Sure, I wasn't the most expressive type. Classmates always said I was quiet, stiff, a bit dull. But that didn't mean I was going to sit back and let myself be used. Still, I liked them, so I let it slide. Tonight, I'd messed with them a little. Now we were even. Honestly, I felt relieved. Thank God Ralph Leonard wasn't gay because of me. Now I could finally be with him, guilt-free. The end.
Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos.